Hello everyone, this is PK Entertainment and we're back again, and here now we have another video for you, and this will be a review of the premiere episode of Stargirl Season 3. Now there may be spoilers within this review, so just beware when going into this overall video. And you can check out my coverage of the previous 2 seasons of the show, and I'll leave some links within the channel. So just to recap then on the previous events from the last season, all of the Justice Society and Injustice Society teamed up together to defeat the dangerous villain known as Eclipso. We saw Courtney's father, Sylvester, the original Starman, return and stay behind to teach her more about the staff, and we saw the emergence of likely the next big villain for the entire season in the form of Mr. Bones. Now overall, in terms of this opening episode, it wasn't that eventful. It was more of a case of settling the characters back in. We had those earlier scenes of seeing life return back to normal within Blue Valley after the Eclipso battle. We saw the Injustice members integrating back into the town alongside the Justice Society, of whom they formed a truce. And we see certain members coming into the Dugan household, so the likes of the Gambler, who's probably the most prominent of the Injustice members, wanting to claim that he had reformed his bad ways, and the reason for this is that he wanted to reconnect with his daughter. We saw later on the Sportsmaster popping up again within the household, and later on in the college scenes we saw the likes of Cindy reconnecting again with the team. We see that both Yolandi and Rick aren't on board with the new truce or alliance, and we'll see this friction likely play all the way throughout this entire season. Probably the most substantial arc was involving Courtney's father, who we see still yearns for connecting with the staff. Of course, he was the original wielder of the weapon, and after a discussion with Courtney, we see her emphasising with his connection, and they try to reach some sort of compromise where they can both use the staff at certain times. We see later scenes where he reconnects again with Pat, whether they're just drinking on the steps or they're flying together, where Pat is in the Stripe robot flying alongside the skies. And in the beginning this all seems very nice and peaceful and cordial, but you can clearly see there's some sort of undercurrent lying within Courtney's father, and over the course of the season I'm sure he will come into far more serious disagreements as opposing to Courtney's methods, especially when he relates later on to the Injustice team. He's very untrusting of them because he's battled them, of course, in previous times. And I'm sure throughout this story we'll see the tensions escalate between both him, Pat and Courtney. Maybe there'll also be some revelation as to what's happened to him during all of this time away from Courtney. Has he been experimented on? Has he been sent as a mole to infiltrate the Justice Society? I'm sure we'll get some big revelations later on throughout this season. We then ended the episode with the biggest development, where we saw the Gambler writing letters to his daughter in order to search for her on his laptop, and then he gets sent a feed showing all cameras all over the residence throughout Blue Valley, and he sees cameras set within his own trailer, and then when he goes outside to disable the camera, he seems to be attacked by a beast, it sounds like. And then later on, when the Justice team come to discover his trailer completely wrecked, they see Cindy at the scene and she claims that she had nothing to do with it, and that's when the episode ends overall. So again, nothing too spectacular, nothing too groundbreaking, but as I mentioned before, this is how season 2 started, before developing very nicely and very strongly, especially when we had the emergence of Eclipso. And I've said in previous videos that I believe Stargirl to be one of the most strongest superhero series currently on air, alongside Superman and Lois. It definitely has been the best of the CW verse shows for the last 2 to 3 years or so. It establishes its story very well, and it stands still today as one of the best superhero shows at developing its villains overall. So hopefully Mr. Bones, wherever he shows up throughout the story, will turn out once again to be as compelling as what we've seen previously with the likes of Brainwave, Icicle and also Eclipso. So in terms of this opener, nothing breathtaking, but just a sound, leisurely start to what I believe again will be probably a strong outing again for the series. So those are my quick thoughts and feelings and review of the opening premiere episode of Stargirl Season 3. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you feel there's been a certain lack of buzz and excitement over the season because again of the serious lack of promotion that we've seen certainly with all of the CW shows, and especially Stargirl? We've had a couple of trailers, but there's been no real build up or setting up of what the story is about or who the main prominent villains are. Do you think this show will end up being its last season, as we've seen many other shows get cancelled, from the likes of Batwoman and Legends of Tomorrow, which are far more prolific than Stargirl? So if they weren't lasting, then will Stargirl be able to see potentially a 4th season? It doesn't really seem to get a lot of traction online either. It has its section of fans, as what most shows do, but it doesn't really seem to get a lot of trending on Twitter or indeed social media. So again, I think that's something they need to work on, but hopefully we'll get some big developments throughout this third season, which will hopefully generate far more hype and excitement for, again, one of the strongest superhero series on television. But let me know what you think in the comments below, and as usual, when I cover all of these shows, I will provide a review of the season finale and also the season overall, and any particular episode standouts. So look out for all of that potential content on the future within the channel. And of course, if you have any other television series or movies that you'd like to see me cover on the channel, then let me know within the comments and I'll see if I can provide that further commentary for you within the future. Please also hit and like the subscription and notification buttons so I can provide you with more high quality content like this in the future. But that's it for now. Take care of yourselves, stay safe distances, and I will see you very, very soon.